Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide podcast with your host, Mike Knight, where we'll bring you great information about a vegan plant-based diet. It doesn't matter if you've been vegan for years, part-time vegan, or just gathering more information. This podcast is for you. Thanks again for joining, and let's get today's tour started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide podcast. I'm Mike Knight. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. All right. So the person we've got on today, Michelle, a lot of energy, very passionate about what she does, staying busy. I mean, Michelle has been, putting YouTube videos out, for almost 8 years or more now. A lot of them. And they're very cool. All kinds of things. Again, it'll be in the show notes. You've got to go check out to help you, especially, a lot of cool recipes, easy recipes, stuff like that. She's actually a co-author of the Friendly Vegan Cookbook. She's a co-creator of the Dairy Detox with a very cool 12-day course. And again, like I said, she's got a lot of videos, got a beautiful website up. Put that in the show notes for you. But she brings a lot of cool information and just breaks things down, to like a simple level, which, as you all know, I need simple. But in all seriousness, that is what, helps it go for people. I know a lot of people listen to this, again, you may be, listen to us for the first time or repeat. Thank you so much. Thanks for helping spread the word. And that's the biggest thing I get from a lot of people is, we're busy, life is happening. We need to find ways to, to simplify things. So I really appreciate Michelle doing that. You're going to find that in here and a whole lot more. So without further ado, here's Michelle.
Okay, we are live. Hello, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Vegan Tour Guide. How's your day been?
It has been great. Been getting a lot of stuff done and reaching more people with the vegan message. So that's been awesome.
That is very cool. Well, real quick, take me through, because I know I saw it. I'll even start there. What are you doing now during the day? Because you've got a lot of stuff that I'd love to tell the audience about. I mean, right out of the gate, because I know you've got like worldofvegan.com.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of stuff there. Plus, you were like, is it okay just to dub you now like the vegan queen of YouTube? I mean, is that...
that's so sweet. I do YouTube. I've been making vegan YouTube videos for, more than 8 years now.
Oh, my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was trying to scroll through. There's a lot. Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah. I've made hundreds of videos, both for my YouTube channel, and I've also partnered with other vegan nonprofits and animal organizations to make videos with them as well. That's a big, big passion of mine, for sure.
Well, you are very good at that, and the photography. Once again, I was looking at your pictures, and I'm like, oh man, everything that I do really just looks like stick figures. I mean, I was looking. Beautiful.
I look at your website and I'm like, wow, the design, the logo, everything is so beautiful and high quality. And as someone who definitely appreciates that in my own work, it's so cool to see, all of the color and vibrancy you bring through your work as well.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, so tell me, I wanted to get ready, because Tony probably already warned you, which is so cool. You and Tony are buds. And so, and she probably already warned you. It's like, strap on, because, I will bounce us all over the place. And if you and the listeners happen to follow along, then it's awesome if we, all wind up at the same destination.
Awesome. Cool. Let's play. Let's have fun.
So tell me, all right, I want to get into your story. So I guess just kind of start there. I know it started at an early age for you, but for the listeners, tell them a little bit about you and your journey to your plant-based vegan lifestyle, kind of what brought you on. Because again, as you know, that's what I love doing, is bringing people on to tell their story so it resonates with others.
Absolutely. Yeah, my story started at a very young age. I was always a huge animal lover. And kind of abnormal in my family. I grew up in a family we're not big animal people. So kind of latched on to all my childhood friends and their animals and all of that. But when I was 8 years old is when, I decided to go vegetarian.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty young, but I was also pretty old, because when you realize why. So the reason I went vegetarian is because I didn't really make the connection until that point that meat was actually animals. I never really stepped back to think about that. We give meat all of these names like beef or pork, and it's not the name of the animal that this product actually is.
Exactly.
So I just never made that connection. Yeah. And when my mom just pointed out one day, like, oh, the lamb that you're eating is like that lamb we saw in the movie. I was like, what?
You're like, no, don't say that.
Eat this. Yeah. And I decided I didn't want to, I just pushed my plate away and said, I don't want to eat animals. And my mom told me that is called a vegetarian. I didn't even know there was a word for it. Yeah. And so that was like kind of the beginning of my journey. And that was before I knew about factory farming or any of the ways that we actually treat animals as they're raised for food. It was purely just because I was an animal lover and they were my friends, not my food. Yeah. So that's how it started. And then since then, I was actually I didn't know any other vegetarians growing up, except for a couple people who in school went vegetarian after meeting me. But I really had very few personal in-life influences around me, but I was still very passionate. So I would speak up for animals and all of that. And like online, I learned a little bit about PETA, and that kind of opened my eyes to factory farming and all these things that are actually happening to animals. And it was at that point
you were determined at an early age. Wow.
I was like born an activist for sure.
Oh my gosh. I mean, my focus was on Legos, and you're like changing the world.
Yeah. Yeah. So as soon as I learned that animals, just how brutally they were treated and exploited, for their flesh and for food, that's when it shifted from a personal choice to me really trying to spread awareness about what was going on, because I assumed no one knows about this or we wouldn't be eating it. So then I became a little activist, and in school and in middle school, and even especially in high school, I started a little animal rights club, and I gave a speech to the whole school about animal testing, and I would hang up posters all around the school about how animals are treated, behind closed doors, and that's really when my activism began. And then in college, I picked up a book at a used bookstore. I love used bookstores, and I saw this book called Animal Liberation by Peter Singer. No idea of the significance of the book, which is a very significant book in the animal rights kind of history. But I read that book, and it just documented how animals are treated in all of these different industries. And it also talks about kind of philosophy and utilitarian philosophy, trying to do the least amount of harm to others in the world. And at that point, I realized, like, oh my gosh, like animals are exploited for their eggs and for milk and dairy and these things that I thought that animals didn't need to suffer for us to get. I realized, though, they absolutely suffer, possibly even more than for meat. So at that point, I decided I'm going vegan.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you did all that. And then, so when did, for instance, I guess utilizing, I know, like you said, you've been on would you say, 8 years or so on YouTube? When did you kind of start going to like social media and creating, these websites and the recipes everyone listening has to go see? They are phenomenal. So when did you decide also to add that to, kind of telling people, recipes and the podcast or the YouTube videos and everything?
Yeah, thank you. I definitely have my paws in a lot of projects right now. And a lot of them are online and social media, and using just kind of the modern tools that we have available at our fingertips to reach major audiences with our message. So since kind of in high school and in college, both of those places I founded animal rights groups, and I would leaflet with brochures telling people about factory farming, and it was all very kind of on-site, person-to-person communication about these issues that I was so passionate about. And I was sure if people learned about this, that it would be game-changing for them and for animals. And then kind of towards the end of college is when, Facebook came to be when I was at the end of high school. And then at the end of college, YouTube was a big thing at that point, and just social media and everything was kind of exploding. And I just started trying to use all of the tools available to me to get that message out. And, just a mentor of mine encouraged me to start making videos, which I was very shy about. I very much like being behind the camera more than in front of it. But, I started a YouTube channel. I just used kind of my laptop. I think I filmed on my laptop or just a really inexpensive camera and just started putting out videos to give tips and tricks for how to go vegan and help other people who are college students or in any point in life learn how to do this and feel like they had kind of a virtual friend along the process.
Cool.
So, yeah. So that's how it started. And then over the years, I mean, I guess the past 8 years really, I've just been kind of fine-tuning and developing those skills and really building a passion specifically around photography and videography because I was trying to, make the content I was producing as useful for people and as beneficial for the world as possible. So I was trying to get better and better at photography and videography, and now I just love those forms of art. So now I'm a photographer beyond just my activism and same with a videographer as well.
Oh, nice. Right. So yeah, a lot of that then you do, obviously even I imagine you do the editing and everything then, right?
Yeah, I do pretty much everything myself. I do everything on a shoestring budget, which means if I can figure it out, I will. I'll just, sometimes it takes a lot of time, but I'm pretty ambitious and quite a workaholic, so it ends up working out.
The videos are cool. No, they're very cool. I've been watching them, and I mean, of course, now you've got me really jonesing. Sometime tonight I have to find my place to get something vegan sweet due to the fact that I was stumbling upon the football that you and Tony made, the chocolate covered like little footballs. I was like, I'm like watching that video. I'm like, I gotta stop. I'm going to do is I'm going to go out right now and find me like a bunch of chocolate chip vegan cookies or something because those looked awesome.
Yeah, well, luckily, vegan sweets are becoming so easy to find now. So, whether that's good or bad for our health, I won't get into, but yeah, that's widely available now, so that's great.
Well, all right, so tell me then, with a lot of the recipes and all you make, and for people listening to this, because I have the listeners that listen to this Vegan Tour Guide are all across the board, and you got some listening right now that are just, gathering information, some that are maybe transitioning, and some are full plant-based vegan. So for people listening to like meals, maybe what are some simple meals maybe that you prepare and all like that? Because again, it sounds like you said, a workaholic, staying busy. I imagine there's got to be some simple go-to things that you do. What are some of those you could advise for other people?
Yes, definitely. Well, when I first started trying to go vegan, I made the decision I want to go vegan, but it wasn't an overnight process. It was like maybe a couple weeks, which is far shorter than most people. But for me, like I took the foods that I was familiar with, like cereal and milk, and then you'd think you just replace it with soy milk. But at first, like a lot of people experience, if you try a milk that's different than the one you've been eating for 20 years, you're going to have to get used to that flavor. So I would pour like a little bit of soy milk and a little bit of cow's milk, because I still had some in the refrigerator, and kind of like increase the proportions until my palate adjusted. And lo and behold, my palate adjusted very quickly, and I started loving that. And then the cow's milk starts tasting sour and weird to you. Like almost everyone I know who's vegan had that similar experience. You try things and the first time you try them, you're like, I don't know about this. But once you give it a chance, your palate really adjusts to whatever foods we're feeding it often.
That is cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And once you kind of realize that we crave what we're used to, it becomes a lot easier to kind of push ourselves to train our bodies and our palates to love the foods that are best for our bodies and best for animals and best for the planet and best on, we can learn to love the foods that are really wholesome and wonderful for us. But that's not super answering your question. Like, I guess some go-to meals are just taking the meals that I already loved, like burritos. And instead of cheese, I would put lots of guacamole. And instead of meat, I would just either take that out and replace it with veggies, or I could stick in some, Beyond Meat or those Gardein strips, or there's so many vegan meats you could just replace in there. So that's a meal. Yeah. Pasta with marinara and veggies. Just anything that you're already used to eating can so easily be just like flipped into a vegan dish these days.
No, that is cool. And like I said, I love your idea of easing into it. And to be honest, I've myself been, plant-based vegan about 6 years, talked to a ton of people, to stay active here in Charlotte. I actually, last night we had a Veg Fest Junior, we called it, and that was very cool. A lot of people there. And I've never heard of someone with your approach. And I think that's so cool. I'm sure a lot of people listen to this. That's a great idea and a great idea to share with others. Is just like a little bit of, like you said, half and half with milk or something, and just almost weaning yourself. And that is so cool because, I've talked about it before and kind of what you just said. I mean, it's a lot of people, unfortunately, I think, set themselves up to fail. And this is in diets I've seen over my life, I believe, across the board in general, is people try and change 20, 30, 40, 50 years of a habit, a way, an eating method overnight. And then they wonder why it fails, and so I love how you mentioned this easing in.
Yeah, definitely. And all different people, I mean, I'm sure you know better than anyone because you talk to so many people about their journey to vegan. It's different for everyone. And some people go omnivore to vegan overnight. And some people, it takes them 15 years. And whatever that path and journey is for you, that's okay. I mean, the important thing is that we, stay aware and conscious about our choices and trying to make the best choices that we can all the time and to be open-minded and continue learning about what's best for ourselves and best for everyone else so that we can really be aligning our food choices with our values and with our bodies as well.
Exactly. Very well said. And it's kind of, even echoing that when I was, of course, Christy that put you and I in touch and talking, with Christy about stuff. And even her book, Meatless, coming out.
Yeah.
And she even talks in there, same thing about, going gradual. And it's okay. And so I love that you bring up that message. I love sharing that message because I think so many times people, when they hear, about plant-based vegan, sometimes I think they're almost afraid, that's like the hook. They're going to talk to me, get me thinking about it, and then they're going to say, all right, you got to do all this by tomorrow morning. You're going to give up all your worldly possessions by tomorrow morning. Got to change and it's like, no, we're going to meet you where you're at, and you kind of almost proceed at your own pace. Each step forward is a step forward, and so love that. Well, so what else are you working on? I mean, I know that's a loaded question with you, but you touring around a lot. I mean, I know. Again, on your website, it says so much that you've done and even projects you contribute to. Kind of what did you get going on right now? What's coming up?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, my main big focus is World of Vegan, worldofvegan.com, and then my YouTube channel that's kind of a vegan videos affiliated with that. But I also have a lot of other projects going on that are just super exciting, and I'm working with a lot of really, really awesome, inspiring people on them. So one of them is called the Dairy Detox, which I partnered with my longtime friend, Allison Rivers Sampson. She's a vegan chef, and she was the founder of Allison's Gourmet, a vegan online bakery. And she's just an incredible person all around. So we teamed up and we created the 12-day Dairy Detox, which specifically focuses kind of on the linchpin that stops people from going vegan, because they're like, oh, I would do it, but I could never give up cheese, or, I could do it, but there's dairy in everything. So it really kind of focuses on that most difficult part, most difficult animal products that are in so many foods, and shows people how easy and delicious it is to live without it and to just shift to delicious plant-based alternatives. So that's been a really, really fun project. We just launched late last year. And it's an online course, so it's a 12-day course that people can sign up for. It starts on the 1st of every single month. And it's been amazing. I mean, we've had people from all stages of life and eating with all different kind of hopes and dreams with the course. Some people just want to do something a little bit healthy for 12 days and do a little bit of a detox, and it works for them. And some people, have been vegetarian for a long time, wanting to go vegan, but aren't really sure what to do about dairy, and this helps them out. Some people are vegan who kind of want to learn more about the messaging around dairy and about the history of dairy and how to communicate that with others. So it's been really exciting to launch that project. We spent a year and a half creating it. We really put a lot of, each day anyone who signs up will be gets a video that covers a different topic. So one day we talk about nutrition. One day we talk all about cheese. One day we talk about milk. We have a day on environment. We have a day on animals. So it's a very comprehensive course, and we tried to distill all of this information out there that we've been gathering in our decades of vegan and compile into something that's synthesized and very kind of easy to digest and implement for our students. So that's been a really fun project.
Very cool. All right, so where do they find that? Where's that?
It's at thedairydetox.com.
Thedairydetox.com. All right, I'm going to put everything in the show notes and all for everybody.
Awesome.
Love that, because you know what? I hear that, and you obviously have been, plant-based vegan longer than I have. So I know you've got some stories. Like for me, even in my time here, it's already neat if you will, the changing shift in everyone that I've seen. Because in the beginning, it was about the meat and stuff. Oh, that sounds hard. I don't know if I could give that up. And now it is. More people tell me, quote, cheese, dairy, but especially cheese. That's wild to me. Because just ironically, I was lucky that wasn't the hardest thing for me. But for so many people now, that's what I hear. So I love you have that. So many people listening to this, I know will definitely dairydetox.com. You'll probably see a little spike there because I think because I think it's good because again, a lot of people, how it is, and I'm sure it gets with you. You listen to what they say, and people's answers / excuses are getting different. Now it's almost people saying, "Look, help me. It sounds hard." Someone saying it sounds hard is the same thing as someone saying, "Hey, show me how, please."
Right.
I want to wear a tie. Dad, sounds hard. Can you show me how to, tie a tie? I want to do it. I'm not bucking you. We're trying to, put up a wall. I just, I need a pass. I love that you're doing that with the dairy. That is so cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we're really excited about that project. And then I know Tony talked a little bit on the podcast you did with her about our new plant-based meal plans.
Yes.
So I won't go too deeply into those, but that's been one of an incredibly exciting project just because it's been insanely well received. We've had hundreds of people since we launched them last week or the week before sign up to get these meal plans, teaching them to eat healthy plant-based foods for a grocery bill of as low as $25 a week, which is pretty crazy.
that was insane. I mean, I was telling people last night at the Veg Fest Junior about that. These people were there, and they're kind of transitioning, and they were like, I want to get some recipes, and just I've got a family. And I'm like, look, you got to go check out this plantbasedonbudget.com. You got to check this out. I said. It's over there, and I said, she actually gives you everything. I mean, you got to see what they put together. And so, it's very cool. Well, all right, so how did you two meet?
Tony and I we met first at an Animal Place Sanctuary. She worked there, and I was there at one of their big events. And then we kind of became very, very fast friends. She was working for VeganOutreach at the time, which is an organization now I work for. And I was helping her, kind of teaching her how to create her own videos for VeganOutreach. So I was kind of like doing some video training with her and just filming some videos of her for VeganOutreach. And ever since then, like we vibe really well together, and we just love we have very similar missions, trying to help make vegan accessible to everyone and easy and delicious and fun. So it's been really fun to team up and work on projects together. And that's actually the second thing we launched together. The first one we launched was a cookbook called the Friendly Vegan Cookbook. So we came together and put a handful of carefully selected recipes that we really loved, and we turned it into a little cookbook ebook that we could offer people.
Nice. Yeah. So what is your favorite stuff to cook? Like you got the time and you actually slow down. When you actually slow down a little bit with all your 42 projects you have going on, when you have the time and just, you're in a zone, what do you love preparing?
Well, lately my favorite things to prepare when I take the time, are just big veggie soups. I recently got a pressure cooker. Have you ever cooked with a pressure cooker?
No.
No. Okay. So
I will tell you what I tell everyone. I'm not very good at cooking at all.
Okay.
And now you just said something. You said like pressure cooker, which to me just sounds like something that pressure building up, and probably everyone will assume that I know. Well, Mike, when that little red light goes off, you got to flip a switch or it's going to like blow up in the kitchen. So that is the first thing that comes to my mind. About,
Yeah. So basically, I like things in the kitchen to be as easy and streamlined and fast as possible, so that when I'm hungry, I can eat. It doesn't take a lot of time, but that I'm able to eat delicious meals. And the pressure cooker, I got it a couple years ago, and it's been like kind of game changing in the kitchen. Basically, it's sort of like a slow cooker, except for you're cooking under pressure, and that allows the boiling point of the water to raise. And so you're able to cook things faster. You can cook rice, beans, lentils, vegetables, anything that traditionally takes a kind of long time to cook on the stove, you can cook way faster in a pressure cooker.
Whoa.
Yeah. But my favorite thing is just I dump a bunch of water, soup stock, bouillon cubes, chop up all the veggies that I have in the fridge, and I put in some lentils or beans. Barley is one of my favorite things to add in there lately. It sounds weird, but it's so good. I just dump it in there. I don't have to think too much. I don't have to follow a recipe, and it's always super delicious. And I know it's really healthy as well. So
you're roping me in. You're roping me into this because you keep saying it's simple, dump it in, not a lot of thought. You're roping me in. I like this.
Yeah, and the pressure cookers these days are pretty foolproof. Otherwise, I would not allow myself to have one in the house. Like if something could go wrong, it would happen to me. But yeah, they're pretty much foolproof. They'll turn off if anything is going awry. So
Michelle, I like what you're preaching. I like this. This is nice. Well, and I'm sure a lot of people listening do, because I know again I get people. They'll ask me the same thing, and they'll send me messages and all about. A lot of people, they are busy. It's just it's the state of the world we live in and all like that. A lot of busy stuff going on, and kind of how can we do this? And so I'm glad, like you mentioned that, because again, that's what it's all about. Because you know how it is. It's a lot of times and I get it. Like anything in life, we all want to put, if you will, our best foot forward. So it can be intimidating when you look at a lot of these sites and a lot of the these meals. I mean, you go on Instagram. Like, I have fun on Instagram with it, but at the same time, I almost want to cry. I mean, because I'm looking at all this stuff people post. I'm like, why don't I also live, in like Bali or something? Like everyone else. I mean, yes, does everyone go to Bali? I mean, to prepare vegan meals and take pictures of them. Number one, I want to know this. I mean, I want to get on. There's got to be like a cheap flight or something, because people are doing this a whole lot.
Yeah.
And then it's always so extravagant, all this stuff. And I'm like, man, it makes everything, I do is like, like a couple of ice cubes in a glass,
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, gosh, like what are the American people used to? We're used to fast food, easy food, and inexpensive food. So if we're going to have any chance of making vegan stick in each individual person's life, you've got to be able to make it fast. You've got to be able to make it inexpensive, and you got to be able to make it easy and taste good, of course. And so, I think it's awesome that there's so much information out there and every recipe you can imagine, but it is overwhelming. So finding resources that you can turn to, like Tony's website, Plantbased on a Budget, where most of the recipes there are affordable, they're pretty easy to make, and they're super delicious. Is really key, because you need to be able to make it fit in the life that you're used to living.
Yes. Yeah, it's very cool. All right, so let me, again, with people making the transition and all, and I know for you and I both, we'd agree that plant-based vegan is healthy, period. So, but even digging into that, anything out of the gate you tell people that when you advise people maybe making a transition to like some initial things to work in, maybe for energy, and stuff like that, kind of, even any foods, say, look, when you're transitioning or whatever, make sure these are kind of maybe on the plate. I mean, just anything that comes to mind, you maybe give people advice about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a lot of pieces where to start. So one of the things is just, you want to make it easy for yourself not to fail, right? So this means don't try and, if you're going to try and make all of your food from whole foods for the first time ever, then you're going to get home from work, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be hungry, and you have a bunch of uncooked lentils that are going to take an hour to prepare. And that's not good. That's not the way you want to set yourself up. So I make sure that I always have a lot of snacks. I have some frozen food in the freezer in case I'm ever in a point where I'm starving and I need to just heat something up and eat. I stock my refrigerator. I just set myself up on every level. If I'm going out somewhere, I make sure I have energy bars in my bag just in case I need them. Same thing if I travel, and make sure to have snacks with me. Just having food around all the time that you know you can turn to is super important. I think that's number one. And then the other thing is, like, if you're transitioning or if you're thinking about going vegan, there's going to be times where you're like, oh, this feels hard or this feels difficult. And eventually, I promise you, if you stick with it, it'll be easy. It'll be like roller skating downhill. It's like, it'll be so easy once you get used to it. But for those difficult times, it's really important to have a why, or to have multiple whys. Like, remember why you're doing this and really educate yourself about how plant-based eating is super healthy for your body. It's going to make it so you can be around longer for your kids, so you can have more energy to do everything that you want to do in life. And really, like, watch the documentaries like Forks Over Knives, read the books like How Not to Die by Michael Greger, inform yourself about the health aspects, and then also try and inform yourself about the animal aspects so you can see, like, even if you're tempted and you're like, oh, I don't care about my health, I'm just going to grab a cheeseburger, then you can kind of fall back on, oh my God, but this is actually going to, this caused so much suffering to an individual animal that did nothing to deserve it. When you have those images in your head, that's just kind of another line of like, okay, I'm going to stay strong and I'm going to choose healthy vegan foods. And then, think about the environment and how this is impacting our world. Like, we want to be maintaining a world that can be around for future generations, that can be healthful and lush and beautiful and and kind. Like, this is the world we want to create, right? We don't want polluted streams and rivers and just, deforest, all of our forests taken down to grow soy to feed the farmed animals. Like, we don't want any of that. So that's kind of like, if you're really strong on those three whys, then it becomes really easy. And you're hungry, and instead of thinking, oh, I'm just going to forget my health, I'm going to grab a burger, you're like, all right, I'm going to stay strong, and I'm going to, make a veggie stir fry right now. So I think, having the whys is very important.
No, I agree with you. You're right, because when you have your whys, it's like that in anything in life. When you have your whys, when you're starting a new workout plan, that is when it gets tough. That's how you're going to stick to that workout plan. Why am I doing? Oh yeah, I realize why I'm doing this. And like you said, I mean, when you're going, to a plant-based vegan, lifestyle, and to me, I tell people, it is a lifestyle. And I say that because the change, and one thing I love about it, I've said before, is that it's so cool. You make one change, and it affects, in essence, multiple changes for you. Because you're just everything you just mentioned about how, an animal's life, and also our environment, and also, I mean, the financial stability. I mean, that gets impacted as well. I was talking to someone, for instance, about trying to do some stuff with like some homeless shelters and trying to incorporate there with, plant-based. And the thing is, it's, there's so many great reasons, to help them out, their health, but also there's also the economic side, which is, when you bring these things also sometimes to try to get corporate backing and involvement, you got to bring that aspect to them, and you say, look, where does the money come, for all their like drugs and all that a lot of them are on, their prescriptions. And I said, it's paid for. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, their situation being homeless, they're not paying for them. I said, so now not only are you helping them, you're also helping out, everyone as a whole, the financial situation. So it's the amazing thing when you bring plant-based vegan into it, on how many profound, great effects it has.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really exciting time that we can make a relatively simple shift in our daily choices and have it be so much better for ourselves. Like, it's the selfish choice for us. It can be the selfish choice, but it's also the best thing for everyone else. And that we're just so lucky, that we can make simple choices that are good for on every aspect.
Well, very cool. All right. So where does everybody find you? I know we've talked about worldofvegan.com and, of course, dairydetox.com. Any place else, whether it be Instagram or anything like that, did you want to point people? You want me to tell them to find you?
Yeah, definitely. So if you're interested in learning more about me and all the things I do, my website is michellecehn.com. My last name is spelled Cehn. And then I do videos for VeganCuts, which is a awesome company. I do the social media for VeganOutreach. So if you tune in there, you'll see a lot of things that I'm creating. And on Instagram, I'm super active. My biggest focus is the account that's just @vegan. So you'll find me there, @Michelle Cehn, @WorldOfVegan. I have 3 Instagrams. So yeah. And I do VeganOutreach's Instagram. I feel a little scattered sometimes.
And why?
I would love to connect.
Right now, my surprise face is not on the fact that I just heard you say you're doing all these multiple things in multiple Instagram accounts. Not at all surprised after talking with you. Next thing you know, you're also a professional, also very good at, swing dancing like Tony is.
That I cannot claim. That is not a claim.
She's telling me about it. I was like, what? And she was telling me about it. And she was like, yeah, that's what she did. Because they're so cool. She called up and actually spoke to her, on her birthday. And then,
that's what I heard. That's so cool.
And then I'm emailing y'all last weekend, and then y'all are hanging out. I'm like, all right, well, obviously, I got to find out, how long they've been buds and all like that. I was tripping out. I'm like emailing her to say thank you. She goes, yeah, by the way, Michelle's here with me now. So.
Yeah, it's amazing too. I mean, I guess that's the one other tip that I'd have for people if they're interested in incorporating more plant-based or going vegan is to just connect with people online. There's so many communities and bloggers and just people that are eager to help and to be a resource for you.
Yes.
So if you're looking to do it and you live in Montana and you feel like you're alone, you're not alone. Just just do some work online to connect with people, and it's really an exciting time. And it's cool, just like all the bloggers and the podcasters and YouTubers, everyone being able to connect a little bit, and it feels like a really awesome community. Yeah.
Well, it is. Well, it has been awesome talking with you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you for coming on Vegan Tour Guide, and I definitely look forward to staying in touch. And, again, I'm putting the show notes everywhere people can find you, and we'll continue to watch for the release of your next 12 books that you'll probably have out in like the next 3 months or something like that. And, but seriously, thank you so much for your energy and passion and what you do. Because again, I love when people can tell their story and people hear it as it obviously is in your voice and your energy and the way it comes across and what you're doing. So thank you.
Well, back at you. And thank you so much for giving such a great platform to so many vegan voices. It's really awesome. And I'm a big fan of the work that you do. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And me of yours. Well, take care, and I will be in touch and talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, there you have it. Michelle, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on Vegan Tour Guide. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of information, a lot of knowledge and passion coming from her, a lot of energy. I told you, she's got a lot of stuff going on. However, she does it all well. She balances it, and Michelle is really, putting it out there and, practicing what she preaches. And like she said, I love the story about, she says, I was a, activist from a very early age. I was a vegetarian before I even knew what the word meant. And I think that is so cool. And someone that's just, found, their life passion, life mission, if you will, and just stayed on that path. And now she puts it into focus to helping other people find the same. And like I've always said, that's what I want to do with this podcast. And so I love, talking to people that are sharing the similar, ideas of just putting information out there to people. And also just, her compassion for animals, and staying active there, just helping them out and bringing awareness to that. That is so cool. I'm going to have everything, like I said, in the show notes, but it's a lot of great things really to check out. You'll see a blog post that I'm going to post on the website on VeganTourGuide.com that will have, some links to like the Dairy Detox, which is a very cool 12-day course. especially, for those of you listening, if you're new and just gathering information, it's great for you. But even for people listening that have already transitioned, if you will, to a plant-based vegan diet, that is a great thing to steer people towards when they're telling you, you know what, I wonder how I'm going to give up dairy and all like that. So it's a great course she has there. Great book, Friendly Vegan Cookbook that she co-authored. Another great thing to look in for a lot of recipes and everything. The list goes on and on of great stuff, that Michelle's doing and putting out there. So make sure you check out her websites. Check out her Instagram, what she's got going on there. You get to pick one. Like she said, she's got 3 of them. So she stays very active on all of them, though. Again, love talking with Michelle. Definitely know I'll be staying in touch with her. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's making a difference. That's what you're doing. Appreciate it. So many people have been, forwarding on this podcast to other people, suggesting it to them. New listeners every single week, new subscribers. And so please tell them to do that. Everyone just, subscribe, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, any of the other platforms that you use. You subscribe to the podcast. That way you'll never miss one. You'll get it. Pass it along to others. Let them know VeganTourGuide.com is where they can find everything. All the blog posts are there, website, information that I gather to put out there for you. Plus, of course, all these podcasts and the podcast player, it's also right there on, the homepage. So check that out. Please, just help spread the word. Can't thank you enough. Always want to give a big shout out to Pat Flynn for information and inspiration for this podcast. Plus, bensound.com for the use of the audio in this. And until next time, everybody, live Pura Vida.